Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everybody. Part 3, hashtag 3, SMR read. Yes. Part 3 of the book A Boy Called Arsenal. We're on chapter 2 now. It was a warm, sunny May day on the morning of the 1971 FA Cup final at Wembley between Arsenal and Liverpool. It was going to be an evening, hotter summer afternoon, and the rich turf of Wembley Stadium was going to provide a stiff test for the stamina and legs of both sides to players. Meanwhile, in Liverpool, particularly the West Derby, it's meant to be Derby, but I think it's Derby, I don't know. A part of Liverpool near St Albert's Primary. The conditions were going to be slightly better for the kids of Stirling Croft. The Flynn family had moved around the corner in the intermittent years from North Canvey Avenue. These place names I can't read off them, but get on with it. And its surroundings. Snooty-nosed urchins from Dumbriez Road, Princess Drive, and Howson Drive were about to play their own version of the FA Cup final on the hallowed turf of St Albans playing field. Not as it's an S word, SALUBRIOUS, surroundings as the Twin Towers, but not as hard as the legs either. Each year the lads of St Albert's Primary grabbed their jumpers for a goalpost and headed off to the school pitch. Bunting over the fence and playing their own version FA Cup final. Everyone wanted to be their favourite player for the sides contesting the final that year. This year, Liverpool being one of them. The action of players' names were going to be even more difficult. Young Flynn, yet to become Arsenal, was one of about 20 lads heading off down Street Croft to get to the school pitch. The two Wembley sides will line up as followed, and there's a Liverpool team. I've never heard any of these people, and then there's the Arsenal team. Yeah. So it's going to be number 1 to 11 for the Liverpool team, and then I'll say Arsenal, and it'll be 1 to 11 for that team. So Liverpool, Ray Clemsman. Number 2, Chris Lawler. Number 3, Alec Lindsdys. Number 4, Tommy Smith, brackets captain. Number 5, Larry Lord. It's actually spelled Lord. I know, I don't like Lord, the name. Number 6, Emlyn Hughes. Number 7, Ian Callaghan. Number 8, Alan. It's not Alan, it's Alan. Evans. 9, Steve Highway. No, not Highway. 10, John Toshak. 11, Brian. Oh, now Arsenal. Oh, substitution, by the way. Peter Thompson, manager Bill Shackly. Arsenal now, the team. Number 1, Bob Wilson. Number 2, Pat Rice. I've heard of Pat Rice. Number 3, Bob McNabb. Number 4, Peter Stoley. Number 5, Frank McClocks. That's the captain. Number 6, Peter Simpson. Number 7, George Armstrong. Number 8, George Grahler, something or other. Number 9, John Radford. There's 2 got John there. Number 11, Charlie George. Substitution of Eddie Kelly and a manager Bertie Mee. Like me, spelled with M-E-E, says me. As you might imagine, the demand was certainly on all red side. 20 Liverpool kids fighting for 10 names. It was never going to work, and Flynn knew this. He played in goal, but the school goalkeeper was part of the gang that day, and Flynn, whatever the surname was, knew that the other kids would be Ray for the day. The surname I can't read, so I'll just skip it. So, wanting to ensure his place on the side in his favourite position, our canny hero thought, I'll be Bob Wilson. Wilson, yeah, it's good. And sped off to one end of the pitch, throwing 2 jerseys down to make a goal. He tried to shout over his shoulder that he would be Arsenal's goalie, but as for many other times in his life, his stutter stopped him from getting his words out. Now just another interview between Alan and Arsenal. I'll just say Alan and Arsenal when the person is speaking. Or do you know when the person's reading on me? Alan, how in God's name did a little running around the streets of Liverpool, surrounded by Liverpool and Everton and Tranmere Rovers, I think it is, fan get the name Arsenal? Arsenal now. Saturday, 8th of May 1971, it was the FA Cup final. All the kids from the area used to go over to the fields and put their jumpers down, and that would be the goal. We would have a cup final before the Royal Cup final, basically do the orientation one. So we all ran over to the field, and I was always the goalie. So I thought, I knew that kids going to hit that goal, so I'll go in there and go in that. Arsenal points to one side of his living room. Goal. That was in brackets, by the way. Yeah. So I went down to the Arsenal goal and put 2 jumpers down. There was about 20 of us there, and when I turned around, there was 19 on the Liverpool side and just me on the Arsenal side in goal. And everyone just started pumping their fist into the air, chanting Arsenal, Arsenal. And it's like, Alan, and you were Bob Wilson for the day. Arsenal. And then I went home and told me mum and dad I want Arsenal to win the day. I was just ripped. Ripped? I was fat something rather than. I remember Steve Highway scoring, and I could feel the anger then. Eddie Kelly equalised and put the game into extra time. And then Charles George got the winner shot from the outside the box, top right hand corner. From that day, I was fascinated and addicted. So now that's the end of it. So now I'll just get on with the book. So Flynn left the house that morning and came back as Arsenal. His mates soon realised that if they called him Arsenal instead of his real name, they had a far better chance of realising that receiving the ball. He stopped answering to his real name at home until all his brothers continued calling him Arsenal. There is a serious matter in identifying to be considered here. Later on in his life, he would actually change his name to Arsenal by deed poll, based on the English way of changing their name. Who was I? Yes. At one of our discussions, he uses an expression, all I ever wanted to be was Arsenal, brackets, for the sake of clarity when referring to Arsenal football team, I'll use AF, and when you read Arsenal, it refers to the person. That's brackets for the reader. Flynn was creating a new character or person that he could identify with and give him a meaning in life, to use both him and his parents' words. He became addicted to Arsenal Football Club, but most important, he stopped being Flynn and became Arsenal. He no longer would answer to his given Christian name, and today we not even tell people, including myself, what his first name given was. As far as he is concerned, he is Arsenal. At that point, Arsenal, it would be a while before he became Arsenal Whittock. In September 1973, Arsenal started senior school, another traumatic day, not just for the life of Arsenal, but for the early year of any child. Everything is big. The desks and the chairs are made for 16-year-old giants. School is bigger. The classrooms, assembly halls are bigger, and there are people milling around everywhere all the time. As kids, you feel like you've been dropped off in central London and told to find your own way home. The onus, ONUS, is now on you to get to your classroom. The teachers no longer come to you. You have greater responsibilities even than ever before to keep time and be in the right place at the right time. Since dynamics in Waiting now no longer was no different to any other 70s secondary modern. Arsenal was thrown into this corridor of ragging, something rather, with unhelped to express himself because of his severe stutter. and the added problem of being an undiagnosed person with autism. We cannot even begin to think how different moving to a new school can be for a child with autism. Today, planned visit for the kids would make ahead of time. Visual aids can help the kid to understand what will be happening and refined verbal communication. Fine if you don't have a stutter. Nevertheless, these should be used more than once, particularly if the challenge is going to take place over a prolonged period of time, which moving school obviously is. There are lots of strategies that are used today. Use of social stories, preparation in kids' current school, obviously preparing the new school about the requirements and needs of the new pupil, and then just talking to the kid and managing his or her anxiety in advance. Now in 1972, Arsenal turned up Arsenal turned up on day one with about another 100 new kids, ready or not, so ready for the brave new world of senior school. So young Master Flynn arrives at St. Dunstan's Roman Catholic after a 20 to 25 minute dragged walk across a field of St. Travis Infant and Parson Hope Primary. His new clothes were rubbing him and brought to fit so he could grow into them. Dark blue blazer, grey trousers, bright blue jumper, and crisp white shirt with a blue and white striped tie. Flynn looked so good as he ever did, even if everything was made for a lad of slightly greater stature and build. Alan, how did you find senior school? Arsenal. In junior school, I was always Flynn. That's something else I remember always being Flynn. At this point, Arsenal paused to take a quite a while in conversational terms to start speaking again. When I was going to senior school, I gathered me parents had decided to have all of it under one name and call us all Whittock. But they didn't tell me. So I remember first day in senior school, back then they used to do the register, and it's your first day they used to do the register in the playground. They used to call just your surname, so Whittock was right at the bottom. But to me, my name was Flynn. So no one told me any otherwise, and then the teachers going through the names, I'm not even thinking I am. I just I'm just trying to hear Flynn, aren't I? And then they all call out Whittock, and I didn't answer. In my head, I'm Flynn. I didn't answer. From then, I was the boy who didn't know their own name. That'd been a better story. Just make stuff up about the boy who didn't know their name. And it turns out there's something wrong. But anyway, I'll give that story. Arsenal was building himself up just to be able to say yes, sir, or here, or whatever everyone else said, was shouting out to notify themselves as all present and correct. His stutter was very bad, and all he was about hearing Flynn and being able to respond quickly enough so as not to be a laughingstock. As it was, he became the boy who didn't know his name, or own name. Children are quiet and not a little cruel when it comes to forming in nicknames and ensuring that they're not at the bottom of it. Not being able to respond to the name Woodcock immediately signaled Arsenal out as someone to be ridiculed and to a mild degree bullied. And that will do it. There is 6 pages I read, or 5 pages I read there. And that about does it, everyone, for this video. Thank you all for watching. Link in the description to the book. As always, goodbye.